Hi, I'm Ray. I'm the owner of Rose Sign Language Interpreting Company here in Colorado. What we're going to discuss today is conference interpreting, conference, seminar, that thing where people get together and learn things together, usually for professional reasons. That's what we're talking about. First of all, I'm not a lawyer. I own and run an interpreting agency, so I'm pretty well versed in how the ADA, the federal law, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, how that applies to a variety of different situations and settings in terms of sign language interpreting services. So if you have specific legal questions, I strongly encourage you to get in touch with your organization's legal counsel, okay? All right, let's get started. So this video is being created because this is a pretty common request that we receive, and there are some pretty common misunderstandings and questions that come up when we receive these calls. So hopefully this video can resolve some of the confusion and make your life easier as you plan your conference. That's the goal. We just want to make things a little bit easier for everybody involved. You, your deaf attendees, everybody involved, all your presenters, everybody. I've got my notes. I'm ready. This is going to be a great video. So the first question is, why are deaf people asking me to provide a sign language interpreter? Well, it's pretty simple. They are probably familiar with the Americans with Disabilities Act, and you may not be. The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 ensures that people with disabilities have access to everyday things like conferences, like stores. You may be familiar with the law that requires new buildings to have wheelchair ramps and make sure that hallways and aisles are wide enough for wheelchairs to get through. This is the same law, just a different part. So the deaf people are asking because they know that they have a legal right to these services. Now you do too. We're already almost on the exact same page. Check you out. So the next question that comes after that is, well, okay, so I get that I need to provide an interpreter, but are you sure I need to pay? Because once I pay for the interpreter, I've seen your quote, once I pay for the interpreter, I'm not going to make any money on this person's ticket. Yeah, you still have to pay for an interpreter. You do. Unfortunately for you, not knowing about the ADA and the fact that you do have to provide access to people who want to take part in your seminar or conference or workshops, that ignorance doesn't excuse you from having to fulfill your responsibilities under the law. You may be curious about something as you Google around about the ADA, something called undue burden, and thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to make any money on this person, so that's an undue burden. That's not fair. Not really. You still have to pay. Undue burden, when they're talking about that, it's more cases of putting your company out of business by providing accessibility. Not, darn it, I'm not going to profit in the same way that I thought I would. You still have to provide interpreting services, even if it skews your budget. The next question that comes is, well, you know what? We're a nonprofit. Do we still have to pay? Yes, probably. Yes, you do. Again, if you would like to really drill down on this, I strongly encourage you to contact your organization's legal counsel. In my experience, the loopholes that relieve you of your responsibility to provide interpreting services or accessibility, those loopholes are few and far between. They are very hard to qualify for. But I do encourage you to contact your legal counsel. Better safe than sorry, right? So we've gotten through the confusing bits. Why am I having to do this? Are you sure I have to do this? You have to do it because it's a law. Yes, I'm sure you have to do this. Pretty sure. There aren't a lot of loopholes. So now we're booking your interpreter. So what do we need? What do you need? You need interpreters to stay on the right side of the law and do the right ethical thing. So what we're going to be asking you for before your conference or seminar begins, hopefully a few days or a few weeks if it's possible, we're going to need the names of the people who will be interpreting for directly, the deaf consumers or hard of hearing consumers, And we're going to be asking for preparation materials. We are happy to sign NDAs if some of this information is proprietary or confidential, but we do need to see it in order to prepare. Yes, we make interpreting look easy. That's our job. Interpreting is actually very hard. Interpreting is not easy. And when you think about the fact that your presenters and your content creators have worked for weeks or even months to prepare this information in the way that they have prepared it and structured it, and then they have also rehearsed their delivery and presentation, sorry about my phone there, you also need to take into account that we need to do the same. So we're going to be asking for those kind of preparation materials. We certainly don't share them outside of the team of people who are actually working on this assignment. We follow very strict control policies as far as sharing, deleting, destroying them after the fact. But we do need access to that. It only makes you look better when we are prepared. So. Also, if you're using videos in any part of your presentation, have them captioned if at all possible. It is not legally required if they haven't been first aired on television. If they were created organically within your organization, they've never been aired on television, they legally don't have to, as of this recording date, September 20th, 2016, they don't have to be captioned, but it makes them so much more watchable. Watching something on a screen and dropping your eyes down at the interpreter is not ideal, and also typically the things that are shown in video format are at a much higher word per minute than typical conversation speed or presentation speed even. So it's not an ideal message for interpretation. We can do it, certainly, but when you have the captions and you have an interpreter as backup, that's kind of an ideal combination. So once we're there, what can you expect? You've given us our prep materials. We have maintained utter secrecy where necessary and where requested. So once we're there, we're going to interpret. We will be probably in the front of the room, off to the side, somewhat from the speaker, so that the deaf person can see us, see the speakers, see the screen without whipping their head around. The deaf person is probably going to be sitting in the front. They may not. They may opt to sit in the back or off to the side. It's really up to them. But typically we'll be in the front. We interpret all of your remarks. We interpret audience remarks. We typically, for conferences, we work in a team because these are longer than 2 hours. And there is typically a very dynamic kind of relationship between speaker and audience. So we will interpret your sessions. We will interpret whatever socials you have going on. We interpret soup to nuts. So really, that's pretty much it. Please remember that what we do interpret is confidential. If your event is not a public event where nobody has any expectation of privacy, like maybe a political rally, it's kind of what happens in Vegas stays at Vegas. What happens at your conference stays at your conference. There's really not a lot to worry about with your interpreting services. Just give us what we need beforehand and we'll be happy. We'll make you look amazing. And we will do everything we possibly can to make your deaf attendees feel great about their experience through our amazing interpreting services. So if you have any questions, feel free to call us at 720-232-8370 or email us through our contact button right here at www.rosesignlanguage.com. Thanks.